Good morning. Welcome back to the Family Meeting Podcast. We're looking forward to another great discussion with all of you today. Going to be talking about how well you respond to your spouse, whether in like having fun or just in everyday communication. It's kind of like some relationships, it's like talking to the wall, where there's not much response happening, and of course that shuts down the connection and everything else. So we want to build connection, and so we respond with the way that our spouse is coming at us. So we are going to enjoy that time together, that subject matter. Right now we are on family vacation in the Florida Keys.
Looks like we're home.
I know, we took the set with us. We just moved the entire backdrop with us.
That is commitment.
Because we're committed to all of you, but having a good time on family vacation. Make sure you're taking time to spend time away with your family. We'd love to hear about some of your favorite family vacation spots. We're always looking for places to go with our family where we can just explore the outdoors, especially just explore the outdoors together. That's our favorite thing to do.
Yep.
And so drop those vacation spots in the comments. We'd love to get those recommendations there. We're getting ready. We're just a few days away now from headed back to Dallas for the National Small Groups Conference. And if you are in the Dallas area, we'd love to be able to spend some time with you in between sessions and different things like that. We're going to be sharing about just marriage and how it can be impacted by small groups. So I think it'll be a good time together, but our favorite thing is spending time with all of you when we're out and about around the country.
Yep.
So make sure you stop by and see us. If you want to register, just go to nationalsmallgroupsconference.com and you'll see all of the information there, including the main speakers, breakouts, all of that. We will see you very soon for all of our friends who are in Texas. So all right, let's see. We've got episode 267 right now, and I think we're ready to roll.
All right, let's roll with it.
Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas, and this is my wife, Lysandra.
Hello, and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 267 of the Family Meeting Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to discuss being a responsive spouse. Your relationship is only as good as the least responsive spouse. I feel like that's a very true and important statement.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we just get so frustrated that our marriage relationship isn't what we want it to be. But your relationship is only as good as your least responsive spouse in the relationship. So what we're talking about here is when your spouse tries to engage, what's your response? Are you engaged back? When your spouse makes a joke, do you laugh?
I mean, I do if it's funny, or I groan.
Right, but groaning is okay too, because at least you're responding.
Okay, so negative response is still response?
I don't know that negative response is groaning is a negative response.
Okay.
Like it's kind of joking too.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how that spouse, takes it.
Sure.
When they flirt, do you play along or do you shut it down? When they start a conversation, are you engaged? Are you listening? Are you responding back and forth? Or are you just like a brick wall?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
And one way to engage is to engage spiritually with your spouse. And if you're unsure about how to do that or how to pick something out where you can engage spiritually with your spouse on a regular basis, we have a devotional book for that, 31 Days of Wisdom for Couples. It goes chapter by chapter through the book of Proverbs every single day, pulling out just something to emphasize and work on your marriage relationship out of each chapter. So, for instance, day 1 is chapter 1. We pull something out of chapter 1, emphasize that, and then we give you some discussion questions about how to apply that practically to your marriage relationship. And so if you're looking for a way to interact and become responsive to your spouse spiritually, that is a great way to do it. You can get that at familymeeting.org/shop if you want a signed copy of that. Or you can just go to Amazon, and it's available for Kindle and paperback there. And you can find our other resources right there as well. So that'll be a great thing. Encourage you to hop on that today. And then we're just a few days away now, a couple days away from the National Small Groups Conference. We're looking forward to being with all of our friends in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think specifically we're going to be in Grapevine, Texas, and doing a couple sessions there. We'll also have a vendor table with all of our books, our resources. Pastors, if you're listening and you want to stop by and talk about having us do a marriage event or a ladies or a men's event, stop by and see us. Or you can do like one church did this past week. They just filled out the contact form on our website, familymeeting.org, and reached out to us about their marriage conference for 2026. We'd love to be a help to you, so stop by and come see us in person or reach out to us online. We'll get back to you with all the information that you need.
All right, sounds great. Let's get into today's discussion. Are you a responsive spouse?
Yes.
That's what we're trying to talk about.
Yes, I am.
I agree that most of the time
I'm
you are.
responding to you.
Yes, you are responding.
Well, what's funny, though, is this happened, I can't remember if it was today or yesterday, but you messaged me. I wasn't able to message back right away. I was driving or doing something, and then you messaged back like, are you ghosting me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, chill out. It's been like barely any amount of time. So
yeah, but yet responding. Still too long.
Yeah. It's like, if you don't respond in the first 30 seconds, she's like, you're ghosting me.
You know I was joking.
No, you weren't. You were dead serious because you sent it a ghost emoji.
Yeah.
You would never send that unless you were joking.
That's not true. If I wasn't joking, I wouldn't send a ghost emoji.
Emoji means that's your emotions you're feeling.
Oh my goodness. It means that you're joking. It means like playing.
No.
Angry emoji.
The face emoji means you're...
Yeah, I send angry emoji all the time, but I don't really mean it. It's always a joke with you.
Oh, so you're lying. How am I supposed to respond to this?
Quietly. Please. Okay, we are trying to actually have a conversation today.
This is going to be the most responsive episode we have ever had. Everything you say, I'm going to respond to it to show people what they should be doing.
Yeah. Okay, here's what you need to take away from this episode.
What?
Don't do what Thomas does. Got it? That's all you need to know. And then your marriage is going to be great.
So I'm going to not respond this whole time, and you guys do the exact opposite.
All right. So your marriage is only as strong as the level of responsiveness, right? That
I heard
you
that
give.
somewhere.
Yeah. So what we want to do is really explore the power of being a responsive spouse, emotionally, verbally, physically, spiritually, from laughter and listening to affection and empathy. All of your reactions shape the health of your marriage more than you realize. So think about it. And actually, this episode was inspired by a situation that happened between Thomas and me in the car. And he has no idea what I'm talking about.
I have no idea.
Because I didn't talk to him about it. I saved it for this episode.
Oh, jeez. She loves putting me on the spot here, too.
Yeah. So
you can hear her little voice go up just a little higher. Yeah, she's excited.
Yeah. I'm still kind of getting over my cold, so my voice is still a little crackly, but it gets pretty high with this. So we were in the car one day, and we were heading somewhere for a meeting, I think it was. And I was trying to talk to Thomas, and I like made a little joke, like being silly. And he was not responsive at all. Like, he was very focused about this meeting and what was happening in this meeting. And so in my mind, I remember like my initial response was, well, okay, I guess you don't want to talk to me.
It's the whole, you didn't answer me right away, I guess you're ghosting me thing.
Yeah. No, but you were not engaging with me.
Yeah.
And so I took that as like a message, a signal to shut it down and be quiet.
Did it work?
It did. Yeah, I was totally quiet then the rest of the drive to the meeting. Now, in that situation, it made sense. I understood. You were preoccupied. You were, I wouldn't say stressed. I think that's too strong a word.
I don't even remember this at all.
No, you don't. And I didn't.
What meeting were we going to?
I think it was a lead team, perhaps.
Okay.
But I mean, I didn't bring it up in that moment because I knew that you needed to focus on this meeting. But it wasn't just that. It was also like, I knew that like you weren't being nasty because most all the time you're extremely responsive and we goof and we play and we talk and all of that. So we do have a healthy marriage. So I understood in that moment he was not being responsive because he was very focused and preoccupied with this meeting. So I didn't bring anything up, but it led me down a train of thoughts because now I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
So now we're driving in the car and I can't talk. That means my mind is like going wild because I'm a talker. So
I was in the meeting box.
you were in the meeting box and I let you stay there because I knew that like I didn't really need to joke with you or talk to you at that moment. So, but it led me down this thought process of, man, no matter how hard you try in a marriage, if the spouse is not responding to you, to your olive branch or to your joke or to your flirting or whatever, if they shut it down, like there's not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah.
If they are not being responsive, like there's not a whole lot you can do. So we're coming at this episode from a perspective of, are you a responsive spouse? Not what do you do if your spouse is not responsive?
Okay.
Yeah. So think about that. Like this is about you. Are you a responsive spouse when your spouse tries to do something? And then I also want to say, because it sounds like I just threw you under the bus real hard,
our listeners are used to that, so they just heard another thump as the bus rolled over me again.
Yep, there goes Thomas.
I mean, I threw you under the bus last episode for a few things.
You do, yeah. This is our relationship. But I do want to say, like, on a regular basis, both Thomas and I are very responsive. Like, we are engaged. If he jokes, I joke back. If he starts a flirt, I flirt, and vice versa. We are very engaged. So I'm not trying to say, like, this episode is because Thomas doesn't respond to me. It's just that one time was the inspiration for this episode.
Well, and you highlight a couple things there. And that is, first of all, responding and, reaching out to your spouse in an appropriate time and an appropriate setting, right? So,
exactly, right. It wasn't the right time.
That was one of the things. But also the fact that no matter how your spouse is responding to you, like we have a responsibility to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. So I know that some of you are working through very difficult relationships and where there's literally just maybe one of you trying to work on it. And we recognize that is hard and that's difficult. There's literally nothing you can do to change your spouse. And we have episodes on that. But I think Lysandra gives us another great reminder of you should never use this content as a weapon against your spouse. That's not going to have the effect that you want it to have. It's, all right, let me take this information and make sure that I'm being the best spouse, being the best person, the best follower of Jesus that I can be.
Exactly.
And so I appreciate you giving us that reminder and making sure that we have that perspective. We do find the principle in Scripture of the idea of mutual attentiveness, and it is truly at the heart of a godly marriage, noticing to, listening to, caring for one another the way that Christ loves his church. And you think about how he is, okay? So
how Jesus is.
Yes. How he is. He is very mindful and responsive in the way that he loves us, and that is the way that we are supposed to be towards one another. We won't take time to go through this entire portion of Scripture, but I would encourage you to, on a regular basis, if you're a married person, these are verses that you ought to know like the back of your hand because they help you to become the best spouse you can become and fulfill your God-given role in your relationship. But in Ephesians 5:21 through 33, we find so many valuable things and insights when it comes to a relationship between a husband and wife. And verse 21 talks about us submitting to one another out of reverence for Christ. And so you're having this thought process of what does my spouse need? You're thinking about them and you're putting them above yourself. And I think sometimes we forget about that in marriage. We just kind of skip down to verses like 21 and 25, where it talks about wives submitting to your husbands and all of that. We kind of forget the fact that, hey, just above that, he says, hey, submit to one another,
right,
out of reverence for Christ. And it's just this idea of mutual thoughtfulness, mutual submission, elevating your spouse above yourself. Now, we do know husbands, verse 25 talks about loving your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And so I always, as a husband, I am a lot harder on husbands just because, like, we are supposed to set the example for what that looks like. If somebody's going to sacrifice and, hey, well, I'm going to sacrifice. Because if your spouse is not responding to you, so Lysandra gives that example that happened the other day. Presumably the other day.
It was like 2 months ago, but that's fine.
Which,
I never forget.
Yeah, she never forgets. But it does not feel good to have your spouse not respond to you in whatever way. Whether you're trying to talk to them and they won't talk back, whether you're trying to joke, flirt, get physical.
Yes, that's right. That's another one. Good thinking.
So whatever it is, if they're not responding to you, that feels bad. It feels like a rejection. And so our natural response, and Lysandra kind of, told us what the natural response was, is like, okay, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to communicate. I'm going to shut down because you're shut down. And that is, and I'm not throwing Lysandra under the bus because she recognized in that moment what was happening.
I was purposefully quiet so that you could think.
But I'm just saying if this happened on a regular basis, the natural response is to shut down.
More out of spite.
And not reach out and not connect. But as a husband, if your wife is not responding to you, and we're going to get into this, but the first question I always ask is, why is she not responding to me? Like, what's the reason behind it? Are there practical reasons, or are there things that I've been doing where she doesn't want to respond to me? But even when that's true, so I'm evaluating that. But rather than do the natural thing and shut down or turn to something or someone else, we need to love them as Christ loved the church. And we need to take that hit and that sacrifice and say, hey, even though it doesn't feel good, it feels like a rejection, or it may literally be a rejection, I'm going to continue to reach out. I'm going to continue to pursue. And then it goes on and it says, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband, in verse number 33 there. So we see in Scripture this idea of, hey, this mutual attentiveness, that we're looking out for what's best for each of us and what we need, and we're responding appropriately.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we see that, like, both partners, the goal is to seek to understand and serve each other out of love for Christ. So sometimes I don't feel love towards my spouse. I'm so sorry. And sometimes you don't feel love for your spouse, but we try to understand them and serve them and sacrifice them for our love for Jesus, because we do love Jesus. And so even if I don't feel love right now for my husband, I'm going to choose to respond to him in love because of Jesus. And so that's the kind of responsive spouse we need to be. Each spouse listens and responds to each other's needs, and and kind of like reaching out to one another for whatever direction we're talking, whether it's, like you said, physically and in a sexual way, or maybe it is verbally or flirting. And as you do that, it's almost like you can mirror the intimacy behind Christ in the church.
Yeah.
And that is a really beautiful picture. And sometimes we forget that our marriage is a picture of Jesus in the church, and we are supposed to be representing him well. And so often we don't do that. And it's always because we're selfish. It comes down to our selfishness.
Totally. Yeah. Our pride, our selfishness.
Yeah. And so when Thomas doesn't respond the way I want him to, and I get mad and start saying mean things about him in my head, he's so mean, he's such a jerk, he never, whatever. I am being a bad testimony of Christ in the church, because that's not at all how Jesus would be. And that's the goal. The goal is to be like Jesus.
Oh, it's really important to understand that your smallest reactions are the gauge of how responsive you are as a spouse.
Okay.
So even the smallest reactions communicate how engaged you are in the relationship. And so one of the things we want to start off by talking about is what not to do.
Yeah, and I think this is really important because, for instance, like you in that moment that I just described, you had no idea you did it.
Yeah.
You weren't trying to be mean. You weren't trying to shut down conversation. And I think that is a lot of the times how it is for us, is it's unintentional, it's careless, it's not malicious.
Yeah.
So it might be that we all need to just evaluate ourselves and say, like, am I doing this? And I don't even know I'm doing this.
Yeah. But even the smallest things give off very strong signals. And so whether it's in a positive or negative way. So some of the negative things that we're doing that, it's not a huge thing. It's not like you're coming back and you're screaming and shouting or even just like totally giving the silent treatment.
Or even saying, like, because this is how it can feel, those small signals. It can feel like you're saying, shut up.
Yeah.
But that's not at all what you're saying. But it feels like it.
Yeah. And your response and your reaction to what your spouse is trying to give you can speak volumes even without saying it. So the first thing not to do is dismiss or ignore your spouse. Every time a spouse feels brushed off, even subtly, they learn this, that my voice doesn't matter here. And they begin to learn that you don't value them, that they aren't important. And so what this does is it creates emotional distance. And over time, they'll stop sharing their inner world with you because they learn that you don't care about it or that it's not important. And so it goes further even over time where it's like, it's not important to you, where it's not important. So then they start to devalue themselves as a person over time. And it just kind of like compounds.
One of the things that really irritates me, like it gets me every time, is being ignored. Like it really bothers me to be ignored. I think most people probably feel that way, but you don't seem to react that way. Well, maybe you're not usually ignored. You're intimidating, so maybe people don't ignore you. Have you been ignored?
I take charge.
Have you been ignored?
Oh, I'm ignored all the time.
Okay, and does it upset you?
No.
Why?
It's like I sent you a message this morning, and it was hours later that you talked to me about it.
What?
About the jacket.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have my phone.
Didn't have your phone. It's by your side 24/7.
No, it was down here, and I went upstairs and got ready.
I sent it to you at the gym while you were at the gym, and you were reading or doing something.
Oh, I honestly didn't see it till later. But okay. So how did you feel in that moment that I ignored you?
No, I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't faze me too much because I know that's not who you are as a person.
Yeah. I hate being ignored.
Now, if for instance, I'm calling, like say the girls, and I know they can hear me, and they don't respond, like that makes me upset.
Oh yeah.
Like definitely. I know you can hear me. Why don't you respond? Like if I'm talking to your mom in a whisper, you across the room, you know what I'm saying to your mom. So I know you hear me like hollering up the stairs about whose turn is it to do dishes or walk the dog or whatever else.
That's true. And it irritates you. Well, I think that being ignored is like one of the worst things. It bothers me so bad. So yeah, it definitely sends a message if you're ignoring the person. Okay. Another thing not to do, eye rolling, sarcasm, or mocking. Ooh, sarcasm. We are in trouble. We are extremely sarcastic.
Yeah, it's as we talked. We literally said this last week that sarcasm is one of our love languages.
Yeah, exactly.
But some people aren't into sarcasm,
yeah.
and that's part of knowing your relationship. Is like, no, they don't like that.
Yeah, but the eye rolling that's usually pretty bad. I mean, I roll my eyes though at you all the time. It's usually joking, but it's just different if your relationship isn't that way.
I can't think. Eye rolling is just not something I do. I don't.
No.
I can't think of a time where I've ever like literally rolled my eyes.
I roll my eyes so hard that my head falls back.
Now I'll mock for sure, but
yeah, you're a hardcore mocker.
Yeah.
That sounds like a hardcore rocker.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm not as funny as I think I am, and I know that.
Grown.
So,
Sorry, I just
there
want
you
to
go.
make sure I respond. I'm not ignoring you.
Thank you. Okay, so these reactions, though, they may seem minor, but they do carry deep messages. And the messages that they communicate, unless your relationship is like this, is contempt or disrespect.
Yeah.
All right. And that is one of the things that's going to break down your marriage, because contempt erodes trust faster than almost anything else.
Yeah.
So don't do it.
Number 3 is inconsistent emotional presence. So being attentive one day and withdrawn or critical the next leaves your spouse uncertain. And it just kind of, your spouse has to kind of enter into your presence with timidity. Like, okay, is it safe to approach you this time? Is it okay to talk to you this time and joke around this time? There's that uncertainty of never knowing how you're going to respond, if you're going to respond, what's it going to be like? And it just kind of creates this anxiety and inconsistency in emotional safety. And it's really impossible to build a solid relationship on that foundation.
Yeah.
It's very like the parable that Jesus talked about the person who's building on sand. It's just not a solid foundation if I have to tiptoe around your presence all the time. Yeah. So one of the things I appreciate about Lysandra is she doesn't use what's going on biologically as an excuse for certain behavior.
Right.
So I know there's a lot of jokes about that time of the month and whatever else, but you really think about it for just a second. If 1 week out of the month, I don't know how Lysandra is going to respond to me or what she's going to be like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a real problem because you don't know how to approach them. And then you could add in there people that have chronic illness and chronic pain and whatever else. And so we shouldn't even use what's going on around us, our circumstances, as a reason not to respond appropriately.
Yeah. Or our past. Like, the way I was raised.
Yeah, the family I grew up in.
Yeah,
you're right.
You can't use that as an excuse. Absolutely. Okay, so I've got another one of what not to do.
No, what did I do?
You did it a long time ago. And we've already talked about it once on the podcast a long time ago. But I'm going to share it again because I think it's going to make all the women feel good.
Okay.
Because they're going to know that they're not the only ones that this is I'm guessing other women have had this happen to you. And actually, if you guys would just reach out to me and tell me that this has happened to you, it would make me feel better.
Okay.
It was vacation 2020.
Oh, yeah.
You know exactly what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were on vacation and I put on some lingerie and came into the room at night. I was going to surprise Thomas, right? And I opened up the door and he looked at me and he did this. And I was so embarrassed and humiliated and I felt ugly and fat and undesirable.
Definitely not the proper response, fellas.
No. He did not respond to my initiation, right? So I turned around so fast. I shut that door, changed back into sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and I got into the bed so angry. And of course, turned my back to him. I was so mad. But really, the mad was really just because it hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But of course, he was immediately regretful and apologetic because he was like, "What have I done?" Yeah. But do you want to share why you had that response?
No, I mean I don't necessarily remember from
you were really tired
5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember everything.
Yeah.
But he was really tired, and we had a long day, and I made the mistake because really the mistake was mine. I made the mistake of not talking to him about it first and finding out where's your head at. He was already in bed preparing to sleep.
Yeah.
That was his that was the next step he was taking in his life, and so when I came in, I basically was like, wake up. Now you've got to do a lot of physical activity here. And he was very disappointed about that. And it was awful. But at the same time, It was my fault. But what I'm saying though is, how long did it take me to initiate that way again?
Probably a little while. Yeah.
Honestly, probably years.
Yeah.
I think it was probably years. So the response is really important because it makes a difference as to like, you don't feel safe to do that thing anymore. So whether it is flirting, joking, having a deep conversation, or initiating sex, how responsive are you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we talked about what not to do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what to do. Instead, you want to really consider the way that you communicate and think about how engaged you are. And you want to be active responsively. All right. And think about your micro expressions. All right. The way that your face looks. Yes. But what about a hand on a shoulder?
When you say micro expressions, it reminds me of that TV show Lie to Me.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
We've talked about that before in the podcast.
Yeah, where it's like he notices the very tiny movement in your eye
pupil.
or whatever.
Yeah, like he notices dilation in your eyes.
So he can tell if you're like lying or telling the truth or whatever.
Which, okay, so I do believe that there's science behind, like, we can tell when people's eyes dilate, but I have never consciously noticed a person's eye dilate or not. Have you?
No, but
it's like too small.
But I'll say this, like, when you really know somebody, even like the smallest micro expressions speak volumes. So like if somebody doesn't really know Lysandra, they may not notice when you're upset or something really bothers you. But I can pick up on it right away. Like, okay, that's not normal for Lysandra. You know, whether it is literally
teeny
just
tiny.
The smallest eye movement or, you know, crinkle of the lips or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about, and we're talking about how the smallest things make the biggest difference, like it can have a positive or negative because your spouse knows you well.
Yeah.
So they know how you typically respond in certain moments or whatever else.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, it can mean a lot.
Yep.
One way or another.
Right. Absolutely. So it could be just like a smile. Being responsive could be even a lot bigger, like a text verbally saying, "I'm thinking of you," or "I really appreciate what you shared with me," or whatever it is. But as you put these micro expressions, kind of deposit them in the trust bank, then you gain more trust with your spouse. Your spouse isn't as nervous about approaching you or reaching out or, or starting something up, whether it's a conversation or a joke time or a flirty time or a sexual time. So it really just reinforces that your love isn't just spoken, but it's consistently shown, whether it is the way that you look or the hand on the shoulder or the text or whatever it may be.
Well, and it's interesting how even, you mentioned text just a second ago, about how, a quick text can lead to ongoing connection. So like, was it the day before yesterday? So not yesterday, you sent me a little, excerpt from a devotional that you were going through. And, I just asked a little question about it. And, so that got me looking into that devotional where I was going through it today, and I just sent you a little sentence from it, like one sentence from it. And you were like, I was literally just getting ready to send you that. And,
I was too. It's so funny.
But it's like, it was not a huge thing. It's not like we sat around for an hour talking about theological stuff. It was a quick text that led to a deeper connection because of the way that I chose to respond and engage. Yep. And so it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It can be just something so small, like a little text, as Lysandra mentioned, can speak volumes to your spouse. We talk about this a lot because it is important, but when it comes to being responsive is attentive listening. Mm-hmm. And when your spouse is speaking about something small. Yeah. Or something that, that you honestly don't care about. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this before, especially the differences between men and women, and we know that it's not across the board. There's always exceptions and personalities that come into play and all of that. But for the most part, like I'm a person who is deeply focused. Let's go back to the box that I was in while we were driving to the meeting. Like I'm in the meeting box. That's all I'm thinking about in the moment. I'm thinking about this meeting coming up, the business we have to discuss, and whatever else. And to me, there's certain things that I do that really don't have anything to do with Lysandra in the grand scheme of things. Now, because she loves me, she cares about those things. Mm-hmm. But when from my perspective, I'm looking at it and I think, okay, this really doesn't have anything to do with her. That things are kind of segmented. And so I can look at things that she shares with me where it's like, that really doesn't have anything to do with me. And so I can have the mindset that I really don't care about that. That's not important to me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't impact me at all. And so if Lysandra's talking about those things and trying to share them with me, I can do one of two things. Okay? I can just basically ignore her or feign listening. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm looking at her, but I'm not really listening. I'm kind of just glazed over.
I assume you do that most of the time.
I mean, I'm not going to say I never do it, but...
I talk a lot, so...
Or I can choose to, because I care about Lysandra and it's something that she cares about or is impacting her, I can choose to respond by truly listening to what she's saying. Mm-hmm. You know, making eye contact. Truly listening. And when you do that, when I do that, it communicates that you matter. Your thoughts are worth my attention. And of course, what this does is this builds emotional safety. Your spouse feels seen, valued, and understood. And these are all key pillars of trust.
Yeah,
going back to Jesus' illustration that I referenced before. Instead of building on sand, you're building on that solid rock, that firm foundation that no matter what happens in your relationship, and tough times come, and they do in all relationships. We all have difficulties, disagreements, and whatever else. It's solid. I know the relationship is secure. So let's go back to the car ride. Okay? We go back to the car ride where I'm thinking about the meeting, and I'm focused on the meeting. Lysandra's trying to connect with me. She's trying to joke with me, and I'm either not noticing or whatever the excuse is. I'm not responding back to her, okay? If our relationship is built on sand, like there's no emotional stability, that's a big problem.
Absolutely.
But because we have built on trust and we have this history over 22 plus years of responding to each other, when that happens, is she upset about it? Sure. Like she feels a little bit rejected and whatever else, but it's not a earth-shattering, relationship-breaking moment because we've built on these key pillars of trust.
Right. And I could say it didn't even affect our relationship. I didn't continue to think about it. I wasn't like actually sad inside. I was disappointed, like, oh, I would have enjoyed connecting right now in this car ride, but it's not going to happen tonight because he's focused.
Yeah.
But I would say it didn't even affect our relationship because it didn't hurt my feelings or anything because I know you and I know that on a regular basis, this is not who you are. This is not how you treat me. And I just knew like, okay, you've got stuff going on. So it didn't even affect our relationship, but that's why. It's because the pattern, the norm is for Thomas always to respond to me and always to engage. So this was very unusual, and this was an isolated incident. And that makes a huge difference, an isolated incident compared to a pattern.
Right. And so if you're not in the habit of attentively listening to your spouse, then it's time to make that shift. And, you know, especially guys, but there's some, like I said, there's some women too, like this too, where it's like, you may not care about the football game, right? You don't care about the sports.
I do not.
But your husband cares about that golf game.
Yep.
And so, or your husband cares about pickleball. And so you're listening to him as he talks about the game and how it was played and what went right or what went wrong. When in reality, that's the stupidest thing in the world. and her little social issues of whatever happens at work is the stupidest thing in the world to you. But your spouse is your world.
Right.
And so something that is affecting and important in their world needs to be important enough in your world that you're willing to actively listen and respond appropriately and understand in that moment.
Yeah. And then this one is really important. And Thomas, you're really good at this. Validating feelings. So when your spouse shares something vulnerable, you respond with empathy. That sounds really hard. Instead of, you're overreacting. Listen, I feel like more than anything, guys need to hear this, but of course there are exceptions to the rule. There are men who overreact a lot. But for the most part, just never tell your wife you're overreacting or you're too sensitive. That's,
Not in the moment, for sure.
yeah.
Now, there are times where you'll come to me and you'll ask me, and you're literally seeking feedback.
Right.
Now, if you're not seeking feedback, then I'm not going to give feedback in the moment. But if you come to me and you say, did I overreact here, or am I crazy about this?
Right.
I'm going to tell you the truth. And there's times where, and it's most of the time because of the way that you are a very mature, wise person. Most of the time I'm like, no, you're spot on with what you're thinking, and you're just looking for that sanity check. But there's times where
Every once in a while.
I'm like, I think you did overreact with the girls there or in that situation.
Right.
But that's only when you're asking for feedback in the moment.
Yeah. When you're just telling a story, venting, sharing the feelings, what they need to hear is, that sounds really hard. I'm really sorry that happened to you.
Now, when it's not the height of things, if you've not asked for feedback, then later on might come back and say, hey, can I just talk to you about, the situation the other day, and how that was handled, and kind of give my perspective on it. But
right. And then the other thing is competing, right? So, work was so hard today. You think your work was hard? Here's what I had to do today. This is not a competition of whose work was harder.
Yeah, you don't have to prove how difficult your day was.
Yeah. Or like, I'm so tired. You think you're tired. I'm tired. I did this, and this. So that's not validating feelings. Validating feelings is, work was hard. Tell me about it. That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. That's validating feelings. So this is not a competition. Make sure that you are not trying to one up your spouse all the time, because that sends a message. It says, stop sharing with me. You're never going to win. That's what it says.
Well, and just because your spouse has had a hard day doesn't negate the fact that you had a hard day. Right? Like you can acknowledge that they had a hard day and then it was difficult for them in whatever area. So like there are certain days where Lysandra is just nonstop, like taking Violet to the DMV and then having to run to the grocery store and then run to a paint job.
Yeah.
Like I can recognize that and say, hey, and you'll text me sometimes. I'm like, hey, how's everything going? Or you're on the way home or whatever. I'm like, hey, you're coming home? And you're like, yeah, I'm really tired. I'm like, yeah, you should be. Like that's
that feels so good to hear that. You should be tired. You're like, thank you.
Busy day. And then there's times where like, I'm at the hospital walking people through death, and it's like, it's not a physical thing where I'm tired, but it's exhausting. And so for Lysandra
hard
to recognize, I know that was difficult, like leading that funeral
you
or
need to rest.
X, Y, or Z. Like, you don't like, you don't have to be in competition. Right. Just because they're tired doesn't mean you're not also tired, but you can recognize and just let it be. Like, let them just tell you they're tired and say, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You should be.
Exactly. Right. And that's going to build intimacy. It's going to strengthen the belief that openness isn't going to be punished and it's not going to be competed with.
Yeah. So let's just get a little bit more specific on this and kind of what this looks like in simple ways every single day. So begin to develop these simple habits.
I think sometimes we think it's this big thing. Like, I always have to do this, but sometimes it's just teeny tiny little simple things.
Yeah. Going back to the micro expressions, as Lysandra mentioned a little while ago. It's just simple things. So one of the simple things is you can just turning toward your spouse.
Yeah.
Like,
they say that there's like something behind like when people even cross their legs towards each other or away from each other. Like And we've done an episode on body language before.
Body language.
You can't not say it. That's Ursula, everyone, from Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, turning towards them. Like when they start talking, you turn towards them.
Well, and it's what it is and why it means so much is it is a physical action that shows what you're doing internally and emotionally.
Exactly.
Right? So if Lysandra is talking to me, and it could be anywhere around the house or whatever, if my back's to her, like I'm giving all signs and all implications, I'm not listening to what you're saying, even if I can hear her, even if I am listening. But if I then turn to face her, all right, she knows she has my attention.
Yeah.
And that I'm open to ready to receive what it is that she's going to tell me.
And another thing along the same lines that I think is the exact same message in a little bit of a different way is look up from your phone. So maybe you're already facing each other. Maybe you're at dinner and one spouse begins to talk or flirt or whatever. Looking up from your phone is like turning towards them.
Like set the phone down. Yeah.
Yep.
And that is a great point. And so your spouse starts a conversation, makes a joke, or flirts, comes in wearing lingerie. Turn toward them.
Yeah, please do that.
Literally and emotionally.
Right.
So that means pausing what you're doing. Whether it's television, your phone, or whatever. Make eye contact. Unless they're wearing lingerie, then don't look her in the eye. She doesn't
Don't look her in the eye.
She does not want you to look her in the eye in that moment.
That is the first time I've heard that advice.
She wants you to look her up and down.
How you doing?
Exactly. But make eye contact, smile, or give a warm verbal cue. Like, oh yeah? Oh, tell me. I want to hear more. I love what you said. I love that you said that. Like, you're giving them affirmation that emotionally I've turned towards you. I am ready and I'm listening and I'm receiving what it is that you're telling me.
Okay, so Dr. John Gottman calls these moments Gottman, thank you. Calls these moments bids for a connection. Bids for connection.
He's written a lot of great stuff on relationships. If you're not familiar with him, I would encourage you to look up some of his books and his resources. He's got great content.
Yeah, but I love that idea, like, because that's ultimately what it is. When you start a conversation or flirt or joke or put on the lingerie, you are bidding for connection. Like you're trying to start something, a connection with your spouse. So every time you turn towards your spouse instead of turning away, you make a tiny deposit of trust and closeness. So it's just a simple habit. Whenever they speak or playfully reach out, make a 1-second pivot. Turn your body and your attention toward them. And that small move says, you have my presence, which really says you have me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you just think about it. Who in your life, and we're not talking in the spiritual realm, okay? So we know it's Jesus, right? So, but I'm just talking about physically in your world. Who is the most important person in your life if you're married? It should be your spouse.
Yes.
Right? So everything else is not as important. And so if your spouse is trying to reach out and making a connection with you, the best thing that you can do is turn toward them and reach back.
Yeah.
And by turning towards them and paying attention to them, you're reaching back for that connection with them. Another thing that it's so small, but it makes a big difference is to mirror their emotion and energy.
This is good.
So you're going to respond in a way that matches their tone. If they're playful, tease back, like play back.
Yeah.
If they're thoughtful, respond with gentleness. If they're kind of sad, right? You're not going to joke. That's not the right response back.
Although we've seen that in marriages, haven't we?
We have seen that in marriages, yeah.
It doesn't end well.
If they're joking, laughing, joking, laugh, even a little.
Yeah, and it's like when I tell Thomas a joke, and like I said earlier, I am a lot funnier than I really am. I think I'm a lot funnier than I am, but I know that, so I don't know what that means. Anyway, he doesn't always laugh. Yeah. Even if, I mean, I will take a pity laugh.
Yeah.
I will take that. I just want a reaction to the joke, even if it's like, that was a terrible joke.
Yeah.
I want a reaction. Like, obviously I'm going for a reaction or I wouldn't be telling the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. You laugh though. I'm telling you, this guy laughs. He laughs, belly laughs when I'm trying to be funny. Then he's like, you're not funny.
Not all the time. You do have your moments where you are funny.
I can't bat 1,000. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
I got that one right. You taught me 1,000, not 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your spouse makes a joke like, you married up, right? And you respond with just like, obviously, I've been telling people that for years.
Yeah.
And so you're responding. Maybe they're sharing something meaningful. Like, I had a hard day. And in your response, you're gonna match the tone, match the energy. I'm sorry, love. Want to tell me about it? Yeah. Like they're reaching out with I had a hard day because they're looking for you to care about what's going on, what they've been through.
Right.
And so I'm matching tone and energy with how they're coming at me.
When you do this, when you mirror their energy and emotion, it communicates emotional attunement. Like, we are in tune here. And that you are tuned in not just to their words, but to their heart, their mood, who they are, what's going on. It tells them, I feel with you.
Yeah.
And so it's just a simple habit to implement. And it's before replying, you just quickly ask yourself, what's the tone here? Sense the tone. And we've all heard that in movies, TV, or even in person. We've heard people be like, read the room, right?
Yeah. I said this the other day. So we had a prominent person in our county government. Him and his wife passed away. They were killed in a car wreck. So go to this funeral, Catholic funeral. And it was the first funeral I'd been to where it was double caskets, double funeral. So two caskets up there. And he was the direct supervisor to our fire chief. So a bunch of first responders and stuff were there. And we're all sitting in a group in the back of this beautiful Catholic church. And funeral's over, and they're kind of doing the walkout. And for those of you that have not been to a Catholic funeral, the priest typically will lead everybody out, lead the family out, with the bodies and all that. Well, as he's going out, he stops.
The priest stops.
The priest stops, and he turns to all of us who are with the fire organization, and he says, hey, coming up, and he named the Saturday, we're having a First Responders Day, and I want to invite all of you.
No!
And I'm just like, I'm like, are you serious right now?
They're taking their parents to bury them.
Yes. Walking, like he's leading the procession out of the funeral. And I'm like, dude, read the room. Like,
yeah, wow.
Like, this is not an appropriate time to invite people to a First Responders Day. Like, I'm glad that you would recognize first responders and all of that.
The heart was in the right place, but ooh.
Yeah, it's like you're saying, read the room. And when it comes to your spouse, like, just read the room, read the tone, read the energy. Yeah. It's not really that difficult.
Yeah, and this needs to become a habit of yours. Like, it's just what I do. It's in my second nature. And my habit is to think, what's the tone here? And then let my body language, face, voice, everything, echo it back warmly in the same way.
So kind of the third little small shift that you can make is respond with small signals of delight.
I'm waiting for this with you.
I know.
Delight in me, Thomas.
I do delight in you all the time. So here's kind of what that looks like.
Okay.
Is you're showing joy in your spouse, whether through expressions, words, or touch. Just subtle cues that say, you light me up. So whether that's a grin or a laugh when they flirt. So however they flirt with you, you're kind of receiving that, showing that, hey, I'm receiving.
Even if it's an egg on your head that doesn't crack the first time and it's just him hitting you with a very hard egg And then he hits you a second time with that same egg, and it cracks and goes all down, all sides of you, all over your hair at night when you're just wanting to go to sleep. And then you have to now shower and wash your hair and blow dry your hair so you don't go to bed with wet hair.
I'll say this.
That's flirting right there.
Some people pay a lot of money for a nice egg shampoo. You should be thanking me because your hair is beautiful, and I'm going to take at least partial credit for that.
Well, I think that what I did to your hair is beautiful.
This is actually the first podcast episode where I've got the bald head showing on camera for all of our YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, that blinding light off of my head is...
no, it's beautiful. Now I just touch his head for good luck.
Yep.
I think it looks great. And I know all of you do too. If you listen to the podcast, you'll have to switch over to YouTube so you can see this beautiful bald head.
But it's subscribe while you're there. Like and subscribe now. So, but maybe it's a gentle touch on their arm while they talk. It's not a big deal, but it speaks volumes. You're making that connection. A quick comment like, "I love hearing you tell stories," or "You're cute when you say that."
Yeah, that's a nice thing to say.
So it's something so small, right? But you're showing your spouse that I really delight in you and who you are. I love sharing life with you. I love making connections with you.
Yeah, and delight is just fuel for your marriage. It is fuel. It tells your spouse they are not just wanted, but they are loved, valued, delighted in. I don't just tolerate you, I delight in you. Even tiny, teeny, tiny little responses like a twinkle in your eye. And I've seen it in Thomas's eye when he looks at me. I hope he's seen it when I look at him.
Most of the time, it's when you're undressing.
Yeah, well, not all the time.
Not all the time, apparently.
But it could be a chuckle, a soft And that just communicates warmth and welcomeness and delight. So delight in your spouse. Actually, I delighted in you this morning. We're at the gym. I'm on the treadmill. And the treadmill is facing the weights. So I can see Thomas way across the gym. I can see him lifting weights. And I just was thinking to myself, like, I love that man so much. And I was thanking God for him. And I was like, I need to tell him this. So I sent him a text across the gym. And I just told him, I said, I truly love you more today than I've ever loved you before. Because I just had that thought about like how I loved him at the beginning. But it's just grown and grown and grown over the years because of the investment that we have put into this thing. And I love him so much. So it could be just something like that. Like it could be a text. It could be whatever. But just showing delight in your spouse. For Thomas, a lot of times he feels that delight when I just hold him and hug him and like bring him in. That's how he feels that delight. For me, it's more words. Like I want him to say it.
Yeah.
He can be like, but I gave you a hug. And I'm like, so? You didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So be thinking about how they receive that delight as well.
And one of the things we just encourage you to do is just find one micro expression of delight every time your spouse reaches out. So you ought to be thinking about that, like until it becomes a natural response. It's like every time your spouse reaches out to you in one way, shape, or form, whether they're talking to you, texting to you, whatever it is, you're looking for ways to reach back and make that connection.
So maybe you've grown distant, or maybe you just want to reconnect. What we want to encourage you to do is just re-engage your heart and become a super responsive spouse. And this all is going to strengthen your bond. It's going to honor God. It's going to be a great representation of Jesus and the church in our world today. And it really is going to benefit you in the end. So be a responsive spouse. And if you want more on this topic, we have a bonus resource for you, the Responsive Spouse Checklist Worksheet.
Okay, try that again.
The Responsive Spouse Self-Check Worksheet. Guys, reading is hard, okay? It's hard to read. The Responsive Spouse Self-Check Worksheet.
Because once again...
You're checking yourself now.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not like spouse checklist.
Yeah.
Did he respond to me? Did he? No. We're looking at ourselves, people. That's what this podcast is really about. It's how can I improve? We're not trying to always work on our spouse. I mean, I'm trying to work on you a little, but not a lot. I'm working on myself a lot, and I'm working on you just a little.
That's true. But if you would like that resource, you could send an email to info@familymeeting.org, and we'll get that out to you right away. Family meeting this week is to have a conversation with about your responsiveness. So you're not coming at your spouse about their responsiveness.
Right.
You're opening yourself up and being vulnerable and just asking, like, how responsive do you feel that I am when I approach you? Like, when I talk to you or when you talk to me, am I paying attention? Am I putting my phone down? Am I pushing pause on the TV? Am I turning the music down in the car when you try to talk to me? How responsive am I? And then, okay, what are some ways that you feel like I could respond better and connect better when you reach out to me, whether it's talking, flirting, physical? Like, what are some better ways that I can respond? Talk about some of those things.
Can I make a confession?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we're supposed to be wrapping this episode up, but you just talked about turning down the radio in the car. So I have this little thing I do. Thomas likes to listen to music louder than I do. And because I want to be able to talk. And he's like, you can still talk. I can hear you. And I'm like, yeah, but the music is so loud. I have to like shout over the music. He's like, just talk normal. So when I want Thomas to turn down the music, I talk to him really, really quietly so he can barely hear me in the car. And so he naturally himself turns down the music. Did you know that I do that?
No, but here's something that it's so annoying. Because when you're driving down the road, like, the thing you're doing is listening to the music.
No, we're talking. Car rides are about talking and connecting with one another.
And it depends on who's driving.
Yeah, that's true. You and Catherine are so great in the car together. You're both like silent with music.
When I'm driving, it's, hey, let's listen to music. And that's the time she's like, can I just make a phone call real quick? Can I do this real quick? And I'm like, we're like listening to music. That's what we're doing here.
There's so much you can accomplish in the car,
so,
including like calendars, schedules. Anyway,
but
yeah.
a sacrificial husband will turn down the music when their wife talks to them.
And if he won't, she will talk so quietly that he has to.
Or he'll just turn the music up.
I love you. Okay, thanks for joining us today, you guys. Don't learn any of our bad habits, only take the good ones, okay? And go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like to shoot us a text or call us, you can send a voice message at 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting as we discuss raising kids in a culture of bed rot. Maybe you've never heard that term, bed rot. We are going to open that up to you, and pretty soon you're going to be realizing that you do it and so do your kids. So how do we raise our kids in this culture, and how do we help them through this?
So we'd like to wish you all a rotten day.
No. We want to wish them all a great week, everybody.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned. How do you respond? I tell you, one of the things that I'm trying to focus in on, and not just with Lysandra, but with the kids as well, is when they come into the room to talk and start to talk to me, to make sure I put my phone down.
Yeah, and that's hard.
Like, not just look up, but literally just like, okay, take my screen and my phone and put it down so it doesn't distract me. Because it speaks volumes to people when you pay attention to them. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on at the moment, is just, hey, give them my attention.
Well, and like, this episode applies to all your relationships.
Totally.
Kids, coworkers, boss, parents. It's about everybody. We just really applied it to marriage today, but truthfully, it can make you such a better person, and it can make you. It really can develop your relationships and build trust in all your relationships.
But in the comments there, just kind of share what's the way to show attentiveness and to respond that is kind of the most difficult thing for you and what you're trying to work on right now to make your relationship better than it is right now. We'll continue this conversation in the comments. We look forward to seeing you there. Until then, we'll see you next week.